Welcome to Fans of the Forge. I'm Chris. To my right we have
Teresa.
And to my left we have
Sean.
And today's episode is Season 5, Episode 16, Wrap-Up, the Bagh Nakh Blades. Let's get right into it. I'm going to bang this one out here. We have our contestants, Aaron, who had 3 years of part-time experience, Josh, who had 1.5 years of part-time experience, Chad with 2 years of part-time experience, and John with 2 years of part-time experience. And these are our picks. Aaron got my pick, as well as Sean's underdog pick. Josh got Teresa's underdog pick and my underdog pick. Chad got Teresa's pick and Sean's pick to win, and John did not get anybody's pick.
Sorry,
John. So, round 1. The contestants had to do Canister Damascus using some rusty nuts and bolts. They had to have a 12 to 15 inch blade with a maximum of 22 inches, including their tang, and they had to have a threaded through tang. Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, threw in a little curveball with the through tang, with the threaded. They do that once in a while.
Interesting thing to note was that Josh pointed out, I wasn't expecting them to give us one of the most difficult things to do when it comes to forging, but we just talked to Jason Knight a couple days ago, and we mentioned Canister Damascus, and he goes, that's one of the easiest things you can do.
You just throw stuff in a can, weld it up, throw it in a forge,
Just got to let it, as long as you let it stay long enough, then chances are you'll be okay, which is, you'll see how this ended up turning out.
I don't know if he just had trouble in the past, maybe pulling that can off.
They're all
He's only a year and
very,
a half experience, so.
yeah, they're all really
I'm
newbies
just saying, maybe
to
he's
it.
tried it before and had trouble with it. But all in all, I'd say it's simple. I think I could handle that.
Yeah, I think we could easily do that. Well, maybe we could do that.
Before
Well,
you claim
you know
it's
what,
so easy.
Obviously, we have
Maybe
no
compared
experience.
to just flat pieces of metal stacked and welded and then doing that Damascus. Maybe, you know, all things considered, maybe that's a little bit easier than canister because you don't know what's going on inside the can.
Right.
Where you can see this thing, what it's doing. So
You just have to hope that the powdered metal kind of does what it's supposed to when it gets heated up. But anyway, we have a note here. There were just so many dad jokes in this episode between the rusty nuts. Go nuts, rusty nuts, clean your nuts. It just kept coming one after the other. There'll be more later on, but we'll leave it at that. And I also made a note here that John said something about he can't play Guitar Hero with his wife because it becomes a competition. I always thought Guitar Hero was a competition game. I mean, I know you're playing in a band together.
kind of. Well, I mean, it's definitely a competition between two people. So maybe it just got a little too heated.
I guess, yeah. Which I'm a terrible sport when it comes to games, so I guess I understand that.
Who plays Guitar Hero?
That's what I was wondering.
How relevant is Guitar Hero nowadays?
That's what I said. That's what I said. Oh, geez. Anyway,
Didn't it go out of business?
I think they did go out of business.
I think it went out of business.
They did come out with another rock band recently.
Yeah, something came out. I wasn't sure if it was that a rock band.
Yeah. All right. I think it was rock band. Anyway, back to what we're talking about.
Distraction not approved here.
So, Aaron, he did not have successful welds on his first canister, and you could tell because there was a crazy amount of sparks coming out, which means like his powdered metal was getting kind of blown out and lit up as it was put it into the forge. So he had to restart. Then he finally did get his to work, and he had to weld on a threaded bolt instead of threading the tang using the tap and die system that they have.
Time saver.
It was actually smart. Doug was like, that's actually one of the better ways to do something like that.
Right, you know that you're not wasting time trying to cut threads into a piece of metal.
Right. John, his first canister came off really clean and easy, but the welds on the inside just didn't take. So he had to start over with 1 hour left. And he also welded on his bolt once he did have his blade put together, forged together. Chad, his welds did not take well either. So he started over with 1 hour to go.
It was basically Chad right after John. Like John
Yeah.
threw his and we're like, what? And then all of a sudden Chad's like,
"Yeah, me
"Wah."
too."
And during this time, I'll say Chad well done on his thread too, but about the time that John and Chad gave up on theirs and went to do another one, Will Willis was so shocked, and he was just like, and
it was a roar.
There was a roar. There was a roar, but there was also I'm like, what are they doing? So anyway, Will Willis let out a loud roar as people were starting
because
over again.
no one's ever started with an hour left before.
Yeah, especially with the canister.
Damascus. Yeah, I guess that'd be.
It's a little more because you have to weld it and all that stuff. But anyway. The other guy in this competition, Josh, he only had...
The other guy, the guy who actually like prepared everything and did
he
really
did
well.
a really good job.
Very meticulous.
Did great. He didn't have to start over. He took his time setting everything up. And then when he went to open his canister up, it was a beautiful piece of metal. He was the only one that managed to get the blade forged out and then actually do the threaded tang with the tools rather than welding it on. And he was then grinding down his blade.
And he was trying to be considerate of his other
He didn't want to shoot sparks at the other contestants, so he had him aimed at himself and lit his shirt on fire, which apparently there's a continuity error at some point. Maybe it's the second day thing where all of a sudden they have a brand new shirt on the next day that doesn't have a hole in it anymore. But somebody did notice that on the Facebook group. So
okay, yeah.
A little bit of continuity there. He should have wore the same shirt again.
Yeah, why wouldn't they just make him wear it again?
Or cut a hole or something. Oh, and then there was one other really good point where Chad was really happy with how his had come out after he started over. And David Baker goes, "Oh, we're getting the shake. We're getting the shake. That means he's doing well." And Ben Abbott looks at him and goes, "What?" And he's like, "Look, he's shaking his head." And he goes, "Oh, that's what we call a nod." And then David and him just kind of like looked at each other. But it was good. It was they've seemed to have lightened up a little bit over the last few episodes. They've added a little bit more lighter moments.
Yeah.
So when it came down to judging, Aaron's was cracked and it was a really thick blade. Josh's was badly warped to the point where like Ben Abbott called it a teeter-totter.
Yeah, he was like pushing on one end and the other end was going up.
Yeah. Chad was a thick but overall very good blade. And John had a really bad structural crack that went through the whole thing. And then, out comes the pocket tape measure. And it turns out he was just over the 22-inch maximum for his blade. And that led to John getting the boot. By John. Sorry. Nobody picked you, so that doesn't really affect our score count at this point. But good luck in your future endeavors. Round 2.
Round 2, where they attached the handle and they had to put a pommel on the through tang. So Aaron tried to take care of those cracks. He went right to grinding. He had chosen a Marcaida. I'm sorry, I confused that with Doug's last name. Micarta and brass.
We just love Doug so much.
Yes. His epoxy did not set very well when he went to go shape that handle, so he had to deal with that. Josh tried to fix the warp, so he got a torch on that to heat it up a bit, put it in a vise, and was trying to work that out.
His little baby torch, his little plumber's torch.
Well, he didn't want to ruin like what was on the blade.
But he wasn't doing anything, and
a few people have used it. I don't know if they've ever had success with that. Their home forges. I can't see it happening.
You'd have to stand there for a long time.
You gotta just hold it right there.
It's meticulous. He's used to like taking.
Well, but even didn't Ben say like you'd be better off served with the oxyacetylene torch, pulling out over? You get a bigger flame, spread it out, and it'll heat it a lot quicker.
Right.
But he did what he did, and he just kind of rolled with it. He's like, I can only go so far with it.
Yeah. And then Chad, round 2 was going much better for Chad. He had a micarta and brass also, and he found time to do an acid etch to really bring out that Damascus. Mm-hmm. So then we go to judging, which was a bolt smash. So we had the knife on this giant beefy bolt and smash it with a baton. Aaron's sustained blade damage had quite a few rolls. And the handle, as he was grinding it down, he had this weird little like divot in the middle. And then because of where the pins were, there was a groove in the front of it. And as any judge was holding it, their hands would like slide forward towards the edge of the blade.
Yeah.
So that was a problem. Josh, one of the bolts that had been used in the Damascus, kind of broke loose a little bit
right
off the spine.
Yeah.
No other structural damage from that. It was just kind of there. But then there was a little bit of edge damage. And then Chad had edge mushes. So not rolls,
So maybe
mushes.
material was a little softer, so it just kind of
Squished in like clay
in.
instead of rolling over. So that was the bolt smash. And then there was the ham slice, which all of them did really well in, despite their various damaged edges.
Yep.
They're pretty
But the handle on Aaron's was a problem then as well. As you know, Doug was going through all the ham testing. I ham impressed.
I am impressed. Another dad joke for you.
So the handle issue was really the problem for Aaron, and he was out in round 2.
And there goes my pick and Sean's underdog pick right there. That's big points there that we just lost.
And I was very excited that my 2 guys were still in.
Oh gosh, you rubbing it in.
Yep.
She's like, I'm getting points no matter what.
Yeah. Oh, before we move on, I just want to say about the last episode that I wasn't here. Okay. Chris, I mean, you sent me these video clips. All right, they were shitty. All right. And they all looked terrible. Except that the first guy, I was like, okay. The rest of them seemed kind of crazy. Now, I don't want to bash them too much in case we actually talk to them somehow in the future, but
Sure.
I was like, I just couldn't. I couldn't even make a second pick. I couldn't say any of them was going to be my underdog. I was like, these guys are all wackos. And so I was just like, Chris, here you go. Both picks, one guy, let it roll, let it ride. Bet on black. Here you go. And I got screwed.
You lost it all.
I lost it all.
It was red.
It was bad. Yeah. So
We did go out of our way to say, I believe Teresa said, are you sure you want to do that?
well, listen, I mean, these guys were, I was like, come on. You saw those intros.
I know. You get one sentence on every person. And yeah.
Yeah,
That's
It's
really
not-
tough. To pick our points based off of those
They're
is tough.
almost completely arbitrary.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, okay. Back to
that.
this
Go ahead.
episode. Round 3. 2 guys had to make a pair of Bagh Nakh Blades. They're an Indian
Weapon.
based in India, I should say.
Yes.
That translate to tiger claw. So these things look pretty badass.
Yeah.
They look like
Blade.
homemade Wolverine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
That's
it's a blade. It's got these claws that kind of stick out
But
on the handle.
It's out this way, right? It's on the
Underneath your
inside.
fingers. Yeah.
Not Wolverine, like backwards Wolverine.
Well,
His are from
not backwards, but just
It's not.
Inside.
It's not
rather
on the
than
heel
coming
part.
out of the fingers,
Yeah.
between the fingers, they were beneath the the fingers here. So
Right.
you're like doing this, but like with your fingers
Over
in
it.
the holes.
Right.
You can hide
grab
them.
it.
Yeah, you're like this. Anyway.
Anyway, badass looking weapons here. They needed to have 2 finger rings, 4 claws, and a thumb rise.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And used for clawing, thrusting, and slashing. So, let's see. They're at their home forges. They're pretty much building them side by side for consistency, instead of one and then the other, because that you could get screwed by that. So,
Yeah.
let's see. We have Josh. He put in a couple cool like tiger eye details in when he was finishing his handle. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it looked
feature.
nice.
And he had like this little extra hook on the bottom of his. And then Chad had he went with Damascus to kind of give himself an aesthetic edge advantage.
He definitely did. I mean, that looked awesome.
Yeah.
The Damascus on that was great.
Just in case it came down to
To that.
minute details, he'd have a little bit of advantage, and it might have worked out. So not much to say with them building. I mean, it went pretty smooth. And Josh, he went to quench, and he thought it took a warp, but then pulled it out and it was straight.
There was just a little bit of, pre-generated drama being put into the show here. It was like stuff that wasn't really an issue. They were trying to is a commercial break. They got to lead
Right.
into your commercial break, so
Not
they
much
created
happened.
some drama, but nothing
Right.
actually happened.
And
Did
we
it
were-
warp? No, it didn't.
We were
So-
watching it on DVR, so we didn't really even get that effect because we just fast forward to the commercial and,
Yeah.
oh, no, he's fine.
All right, so we move on to judging the kill test. They're going through a pig carcass, right? And RJ comes back to complete the test for Doug, and we definitely had a good Doug cam,
Oh, yeah. Solid Doug
Yep.
cam.
solid Doug cam for well, Josh went first.
Yep.
And yeah, so RJ just gets in there, digs in.
Oof, the damage from those claws, too.
It was-
Yeah.
Just when you drag it down, you see.
You could hear it.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. And, like, I was really shuddering to think about what that would do to me. Like, if that.
That's no good.
Yeah.
And then on Chad's turn, he kind of had the comment was he had kind of a thinner handle. So I guess it kind of dug in a little bit to the hand. And then there was kind of an interesting thing between Doug and RJ. What did Doug say to RJ? He's like, you still kind of...
You fight kind of like you're still like you're a kid or something.
Yeah.
Like just like you were when you were a kid or something.
Right, weak or something like that. So then they rear up and you start doing
The cat fight.
The
cat fight at
fighting.
each other.
It was so weird. It's so weird and out of character for both of them.
Maybe it's not out of character. It's just we
Yeah,
don't
maybe-
see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
they portray
They're brothers.
themselves as the super series brothers, but they're joking around
Wow.
in the back. I mean, it makes sense. And so,
Doug's not that serious.
well, compared to season
RJ looks
one,
pretty
not anymore.
serious.
RJ,
Although
yeah.
RJ can't talk.
Yeah, he does.
So-
Screen Actors Guild union or whatever it is. He doesn't want to pay him, so he's not allowed to talk. But he can do little cat noises while he. That's not.
Did he make cat noises?
I don't know if he
One
did.
of
Maybe
them- one of
Doug
them
definitely
definitely
did.
did.
Yeah.
Doug definitely did. I think.
All right. So anyway, after the cat fight, move on to the strength test, which was a log claw and stab.
It looked a lot like a bear hug.
Just hug
Yeah.
the tree.
It was a fair sized log, and so Ben was doing this test, and so he, hugs it, digs in with the claws, kind of grabs it, and then he stabs the log, and then he kind of pries it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does the other one, pries it out, and unfortunately, both tips from Josh's blades snapped off, and it's like, uh-oh, you know. So, but other than that, it performed fine.
Yep.
It wasn't a lot of the tip. It's
Yeah.
Eighth
it didn't
inch or
go
so,
that far
quarter
into
inch.
the wood.
yeah, it didn't. So then it was Chad's turn. Claws again, do well, and he had one tip break off in the
Yeah.
log. And then we moved on to a sandbag test from Dave, and not much to write home about. They both slashed well. The claws went in, ripped it up, slashed through with the blades. No problem, both guys. So then it came down to the very end, and unfortunately for Josh, both tips breaking versus one was it, and Chad got the win. So, good job, Chad.
Good job, Chad.
I get a
He was
point.
actually semi-local too. He was from Rhode Island. So,
Yes.
Hey, good
I
for
thought
him.
Josh
yeah.
was from Rhode Island.
Josh,
Josh was Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Chad was Minnesota.
Never mind. I'm a dummy. Anyway,
I like to know where they're from.
congratulations.
good effort, Josh. We like you.
Congratulations to these two for getting points this episode. I unfortunately did not get any points. Is there an updated point tally there?
There
It
is,
had been
yep.
covered.
Teresa has 15.
15 points.
Chris has 12. I have 9.
Hey, you're coming out.
Slow and steady.
You're digging your way back a little bit here. You're
Yeah.
pulling your way forward. I don't know.
Slow.
Don't know how many episodes are
Yeah, how
left
many
this
episodes
season.
left?
I don't know.
If we're
Can't be
we're
many.
on 16, I think they maybe go to like 22 or 24.
Mm.
And plus, we have 2 or 3 episodes we didn't do from earlier in the
That's
season
true.
that we have to catch up on.
Right,
So there's
right.
some possibilities here. But anyway, that is the episode. Season 5, Episode 16, Bagh Nakh Blades. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel or check out our Instagram, which kind of blew up over the last
Yeah.
couple days since we interviewed Jason Knight. Thanks again to Jason Knight for allowing us to interview him.
Check out that interview.
Yeah, check it
Very
out.
good.
It was
Pretty motivational, too.
Yeah,
it's a cool guy.
Inspirational, motivational.
a lot of good comments on it, and yeah, we were really happy with how it turned out, and glad that Jason gave us his time
Yeah.
to do that. And we'll do one thing. We're gonna start off a new segment here our featured forge of the week. And that's going to be Jason Knight's forge. And I'll grab a picture from his Instagram. That'll be up here, something that he's forged recently. And if you want to be a featured forge of the week, send us a picture of something that you made recently and give me some of your contact info. Just DM me on Instagram, and we'll put it in a video.
Spread the word.
Yeah, we're here to share the love. Let's get this community going. So please let us know. Otherwise, follow us on social media and check us out. And we will catch you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.
I think the video's still going.
Okay.